It's a while since I've done a double-sided quilt, so I know I'm going to get a lot of questions. I'm in the process of basting my double-sided rainbow quilt, so I just want to show you. I have basted one side. I then pressed the whole thing, making sure to set that glue a little bit, the spray basting glue. You need to press it, you get the wrinkles out, and then you trim it up right to the edge. So we've got a perfect straight edge. The second now quilt top, which is going to be the quilt back, you need to roll up and then lay on the edge of the quilt, lining it up as perfectly as you can. If you see a little bit like this, snuggle it over just a little bit, give it that little smidge extra before you roll out the rest of it. Get it as close as you can to the edge. We want everything within 1/4 of an inch of the edge. And then you spray baste it like you normally would, rolling it out, doing each section, making sure it lines up. Remember, fabric can ease a little bit. You can stretch it here and there where you need to, just a little bit, especially when you get to ironing it with a bit of water and a little spray starch to give it a little bit of extra easeability. So if you're wondering how that double-sided quilt lined up, here we go. Now, each of these fabrics is within about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the batting, and that's what I'm aiming for here. Once I quilt this quilt and I trim it up, I will trim away a little bit. So it won't be, so these blocks right here at the edge might be 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch narrower than the ones in the middle of the quilt. And that's why scrap quilts are great for this, because you won't even notice that that's happened, that you've trimmed that little bit away. But you definitely want to get it down to the minimal amount possible. So you need 2 quilt tops that are exactly the same size, and you need to try and get them as close to lining up as possible. So I have free motion quilted that rainbow double-sided quilt that I've been showing you. So what I'm going to show you is I'm up to the trimming it off phase. So right here you can see this is all I'm going to trim off. It's like 1 millimeter of quilt top and a tiny bit of batting. I'll go down a bit further here. We've got more like 1/4 of an inch of batting exposed and then a little bit of overhang from the back quilt square. Now, the reason this can happen, particularly with a scrap quilt, is because all the fabrics in this are so different, and some of them will stretch more than others. A lot of them are on their bias, stuff like that. So I just end up trimming that off, and sure, the block underneath could end up a bit smaller, but it shouldn't be enough to be obvious to the naked eye in a large quilt block like this. So here we are after squaring up that scrappy double-sided rainbow quilt. This is all I've trimmed off the edge to make it feasible to make it a double-sided quilt. So nice neat edges. It is possible. You can make a double-sided quilt. It's a little bit more fiddly than just using a regular quilt back, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun.